Okay, I'm going to get started. Hi, everybody. Thanks for your time this afternoon. I'd also like to say thank you for your expressions of gratitude. Many of you have provided since the webinar on Tuesday. We really appreciate it. Pauline, Martina, and I are here to provide you with a further update today on JobKeeper payments. I'll be providing you with an update on the outcomes from the board meeting yesterday, and Pauline will take you through some payroll details. Our board of directors met yesterday to discuss JobKeeper payments and how to proceed moving forward. Please keep in mind that this is a big decision for the organisation, as we will not be receiving government payments until May. So making these payments ahead of time to staff before then does need to be considered carefully. I'm pleased to report that the board have agreed to move with the recommendation to make payments to eligible staff in the next pay cycle, which is next week. And this will include both this fortnight's pay as well as the previous fortnight's back pay. For our youth and disability entity, unfortunately, we still have not heard back from the ATO Commissioner to approve the exemption in making this entity eligible for JobKeeper payments. The external advice is that we should be confident, but that the ATO are completely inundated. And so we've just got to be patient and await their advice. For this reason, we have made the decision that we cannot make payments for eligible staff who work under this entity. And while we're confident we will receive this exemption, we've made this decision to err on the side of caution, as not receiving this exemption after making the payments would result in difficulties for the employees, as well as difficulties for us as the Y. So what we've decided to do is to not make those payments, but we are going to make every endeavour to get that exemption as soon as possible. I know this is really disappointing news for the staff who work in this entity, and Peter Gillies will be hosting a private webinar for you tomorrow to answer your questions and to provide some further detail. I'm now going to hand over to Pauline, who's really going to take you through step by step the payroll details for JobKeeper. Thanks, Pauline.
Thank you, Carolyn. Hi, everyone. I'm sure many of you are really looking forward to checking your bank accounts next week. And today I'm going to take you through the different payment scenarios so that you can have a good understanding of the amounts you will be receiving. Firstly, before I do that, I would like to ask a huge favour of you all. That favour is that we ask that you do not contact the payroll team until after you receive your pay next week if you have a JobKeeper inquiry. The payroll team need to process 2 pay cycles within a matter of days, which is effectively nearly 12,000 pays in total. This is a huge amount of work on that team who are doing an amazing job, and they are already underway. But we would really appreciate your patience as they work through every pay so that you can receive them on time. It is our intention today to run through some scenarios with you of what your pay and your pay slip might look like, so that you can start to understand what things will look like for you and help answer some questions you might have before next week. It has been confirmed that if you are eligible for JobKeeper, you are to be back paid from the previous fortnight, which is fortnight ending the 12th of April, and you'll be paid for fortnight ending the 26th of April. Therefore, you will be receiving 2 pay slips and 2 entries into your bank account. I would now like to take you through the main categories that you may fall into if you are an eligible staff member, and we're going to show some slides. The first slide shows the pay amounts for the previous fortnight, so pay cycle ending the 12th of April. Please note that all the pay amounts you're about to see are before income tax. They are the gross amount. You'll be taxed at your normal personal tax rate, and therefore the amount in your bank account will be slightly less than what's shown on the screen. Category 1. Here it is. If you have been stood down or derostered and did not receive any pay in the last fortnight, you will now be paid the $1,500 JobKeeper payment next week. This back payment is shown against a JobKeeper top-up code with the amount next to it. You will also note that there is a job starter code showing of 01. This is the code that we must send to the ATO to advise them that you are an eligible staff member for JobKeeper payments. This code only shows once in the fortnight you start receiving JobKeeper. Hence, for all eligible staff next week, the JobKeeper code is 01. This code also has an amount of 1 cent next to it to alert the ATO of eligible staff. Category 2. If you are working full-time, part-time, or a casual employee and earned more than $1,500 in the last fortnight, you will have already been paid normally. You will not receive any further amount from JobKeeper. Hence, all that shows on this payslip is the job starter code of 01 to alert the ATO to the fact that you are an eligible employee. Category 3. If you're working part-time but have earned less than $1,500 in the last fortnight, you will have already been paid for the amount of hours that you worked. In this example, 30 hours at $30 per hour, $900. What you will receive is the JobKeeper code top-up to make your total pay $1,500. In this example, you will receive an extra $600 in next week's pay. Category 4. If you're working casually but have earned less than $1,500 in the last fortnight, you too will have already been paid for the amount of hours that you worked. In this example, 15 hours at $30 per hour is $450, which would have been received last fortnight. But for this fortnight, you will receive the JobKeeper top-up to take your total pay to $1,500. Therefore, you will be receiving an extra $1,050 in next week's pay. Slide 2. Let's have a look at the pay cycle for this fortnight ending 26th of April. Again, please note that all pay amounts are before income tax and they are the gross amount, and therefore the amount that will appear in your bank account will be less than what's shown on the screen. Category 1. If you have been stood down or derostered and did not receive any pay in this fortnight, you will be paid the $1,500 JobKeeper payment next week. Category 2. If you are working full-time, part-time or casual and earned more than $1,500, you will be paid for your normal hours worked and will not receive any further amount from JobKeeper. Category 3. If you are working part-time but have earned less than $1,500 in the last fortnight, you will receive the amount of hours you worked. In this example, 30 hours at $30 per hour equals $900, and you will receive the JobKeeper top-up payment of $600 to take your total pay next week up to $1,500. Category 4. If you are working casually but have earned less than $1,500 in the last fortnight, you will be paid for the amount of hours you worked. In this example, 15 hours at $30 per hour, $450, and you will receive the JobKeeper top-up of $1,050 to again take your pay next week up to $1,500. Thank you. We'll now close the slides. For those of you who have been asking about annual leave, it has been confirmed that there will be no reversals of annual leave for staff who have elected to take their annual leave in previous weeks. If staff have taken annual leave, this leave has already been paid and we have already reported it to the ATO. Leave loading will also have been paid as per the staff agreement. Please don't feel like you are being disadvantaged having had your annual leave processed. The rules of JobKeeper are that we should preserve 2 weeks of annual leave, and we will explain this further in the coming weeks. Right now, our focus is just getting through the 2 payments to you all before the end of the month. We want to pay you this benefit, and we will of course work closely with you not to disadvantage you with the rules that the government are drip feeding us daily. Thank you, everyone. I'll hand back to Carolyn to take some questions now.
All right, thank you, Pauline. And look, we've got Pauline and obviously Martina online for some of these questions. We've got 17 questions at the moment, and about 15 minutes left. So, does JobKeeper go for a minimum and maximum of 6 months? Martina. Oops, she's on mute.
Sorry about that. That is our current understanding, is that it is set for that period of time. That may change, and if it does, you'll probably know about it at the same time we do, because the Prime Minister would make an announcement to that effect. But at this point in time, we are assuming that JobKeeper will go for the entire period that it's currently been nominated for. Yes.
Thank you, Martina. This one for you, Pauline. I haven't received a confirmation email yet. Should I be worried?
Oh, that is a good question. We did endeavour to send out all confirmation emails within 72 hours of receiving your form. And what I would encourage you to do is to make an inquiry through to the Human Resources Help Desk so that we can follow up your individual request. I'm very hopeful that if you are eligible, it has been processed. We've been able to confirm all eligible employees are being processed as at today, but let's deal with your question individually through the help desk.
Fantastic, thank you. And Martina, can you just read out the help desk details?
Yeah, I haven't got them in front of me.
That's all right, we'll do it in a minute. How about that? Yes. Okay, next question. Hi, it's been 3 days since I lodged my JobKeeper form and as yet have no confirmation or feedback. So it's the same one, and they have asked for a phone number or an email address. So.
Yeah, look, can I just say on that one too, we were contacting over the last couple of days anyone who had not filled in a form. So if you have filled in the form and hit submit, but you just haven't got the confirmation back, but you did get at the time on the screen, it said that you'd filled in the form and you haven't had any contact from it since, chances are it's all fantastic. But if you've just got that individual one, I'll just look at the website again.
Okay, no worries, Martina, thank you. This person, by mistake, I applied for 2 employers. How can I withdraw with 1 employer? So look, I'll start answering that and let Martina look up the address, because you will need the address for Martina here. So firstly, what I would say is you need to decide which employer is your primary employer. If that is not us, then you need to let the other employer know that you need to withdraw. If it is us, you need to let us know that you need to withdraw. And you really need to let us know in the next hour or 2, because each employer will be making these payrolls as soon as possible. So please let us know, and Martina's going to give you the address.
Yes, I have now. And
you're on mute again, Martina.
I'm not having a good day today, everybody. I want to thank everybody, because half the audience has now texted me in my own help desk email. So thank you so much. And it is humanresources.vic@ymca.org.au. What I was concerned about before was I couldn't remember if there was a dot between the human resources of the Vic. So just to say that again, humanresources.vic@ymca.org.au.
Okay, fantastic. Next one, it's for Martina. I was on my no pay annual leave in the first fortnight due to Corona. Can I get paid for that period also?
So if that was in the period since the 30th of March and you weren't getting paid anything at that point in time, then yes, you will get the $1,500 pre-tax during that period of time.
Yes. Thank you, Martina. Hi there. Whilst I've been accepted for JobKeeper, I'm wondering what level of work will be provided for us. My direct report manager wasn't sure if there would be work available still for me.
Do you want me to take that one?
Yes, please, Martina.
Yeah. It's going to be different for different parts of our business on this one. However, what we are looking at is all sorts of opportunities for our staff. So for some staff, it may be that hopefully, because Australia has been doing so well in this space, that we will start to slowly open up our services again. And as we do that, there will be work for people to do. There may be some alternate work that we have available in some areas, and we will ask staff if they're willing or wanting to do that. And then in addition to that, we are looking at all of our training and development opportunities that staff usually do during working hours. So for example, we're looking at things like our safeguarding children and young people training and refresher courses, things like that. So we will be working with your managers, and your managers will be working with you to ensure that we keep you engaged, we keep you up to date, and hopefully we'll all be back at work very, very soon.
Well said, Martina. We do want to get back to work. Do we get paid from the 30th of March, or is it only from the 12th of April to the 30th of March? Pauline?
Yes, good question. The JobKeeper payments commence on the 30th of March. So today we've discussed 2 fortnights. Fortnight 1 is 30th of March to the 12th of April. Fortnight 2 is the 13th of April to the 26th of April. You will be paid both fortnights back pay for JobKeeper if you are an eligible staff member in next week's pay run.
Okay, another one for you, Pauline. I think you explained this, but it's always good to say it again. I didn't work last fortnight. However, I received annual leave. Do we get a top up or the 1,500?
So the answer is it will depend on how much annual leave you took in the last fortnight. If that was less than $1,500, you will be topped up to $1,500. If that annual leave was more than $1,500, you will not receive JobKeeper top-up.
Next one, will these PowerPoint resources be available to staff? Pauline?
Yes, we're going to put them on our emergency website. They're definitely good information for you all to go back and have a look at after this webinar.
Okay, fantastic. How does it work if you receive annual leave in the past paid fortnight? Lots of annual leave questions. Pauline?
Yes, okay. So I'll just sort of basically say again what I've just said. It depends on how much annual leave you were paid. If your annual leave payment exceeds $1,500, you will not receive any further payment. If your annual leave payment in the last pay run was less than $1,500, yes, you will receive JobKeeper payment top-ups to take you up to $1,500 per fortnight.
Okay, so again, lots of annual leave questions, and we will have a separate annual leave specific seminar, webinar for you, but I will ask this last one, and I will just keep the other ones available for that next webinar and make sure that we cover it all off. So can I please confirm what this means for staff members who have utilised leave entitlements within the last 2 fortnight pay cycles? Martina?
Yeah, so as Pauline said just before, we won't be reversing those annual leave cycles. So if you've taken annual leave in the last 2 pay periods, you would have also received the leave loading on that, and it would have been taxed accordingly. So we won't be reversing out of those situations. Into the future, we will be looking at and talking with our staff about the fact that under JobKeeper, the new provisions are that we can work with our staff, for all of our staff, to take annual leave and leave a balance of 2 weeks leave. So no one will be disadvantaged, because this is something that we'll be working on with all of our staff.
Okay, thank you. How is JobKeeper applied to those full-time staff on reduced hours? Pauline?
So again, it depends on how much you earned. If you are an eligible staff member, and you earn less than $1,500, you will be topped up to $1,500. If you are eligible and you earn more than $1,500, you will not receive any more payments.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Pauline. Look, someone said very clear demonstrations. Thank you. Again, it's another annual leave one. So we are going to get lots of annual leave. If I can just ask you if we can save all these for next week. And again, just to understand, a lot of this information we are getting drip fed from the government. So we don't want to answer too many more of these because we want to make sure that we absolutely get this right for you. But we are working very, very hard behind the scenes to make sure that we don't disadvantage anyone. But we do have to, as you all know, we have to follow the rules that are set out for us by the Australian government in relation to JobKeeper. So this one, what do we do if we've not received an email? Does that mean we are not eligible?
Everyone should have received an email. That's the first. Whether you are eligible or ineligible, you should have received an email. So again, now that I can say humanresources.vic@ymca.org.au, if you didn't receive an email at all, if you send us a query, we will have a look at that for you. But before you do that, I would say have a look in your spam email box, particularly if you're looking in your home email and you're not used to getting work emails at home. Just have a quick check in there that it didn't go through to your spam email.
Okay, I'm currently receiving JobSeeker. How do I go about cancelling that to receive my JobKeeper? Oh, JobSeeker, sorry, JobSeeker. How do I go about cancelling that to receive my JobKeeper? Martina.
Yeah, all you need to do is nominate and let them know that you have nominated for JobKeeper and that you have got the confirmation back from us. So as long as you've got that confirmation back from us, and if you have any concern about that, please come to the website. We don't want anyone to cancel their JobSeeker and then have to go back into the queue to reinstate that. So we would rather that you just do a double check with us if you have any concerns. But as long as you've received that, yes, your confirmation email after you've submitted your nomination form, then all you need to do is through your MyGov, you can actually just go on there and let them know that you've nominated for JobKeeper.
Okay, this one's a good one. So for stood down full-time staff that are receiving payments for Easter Monday and 2 Easter gazetted days, will they be topped up to $1,500 for the fortnight ended Sunday, the 26th of April? Martina.
Yes, they will be up to the $1,500. Yes, so whatever you got, you will be topped. If it was less than $1,500, you'll be topped up to the $1,500.
That's right. Very good. Another annual leave one. There is some questions here with regard to long service leave as well. So look, I think what we'll do again is we will leave those questions until the next webinar so that we can be really certain, but rest assured we will be answering all of these questions for you.
Okay. Can I just say on that too, Carolyn, as soon as we will do the webinar, but as soon as we've got the information as well, we will update our FAQs on the emergency website as well. So as much as possible, we'll get the information to you as soon as we've got it, even if that's before the next webinar.
Okay, so is YMCA's eligibility for JobKeeper updated monthly? That is, if revenue goes back to normal, will you be ineligible for JobKeeper and services return to normal? Martina.
Our understanding at this stage, and this is where once again it's very interesting, we have been given advice from our external experts in this area that once you're in as an employer for JobKeeper. Okay, so that would mean that currently, if we're eligible for the whole period. However, none of us have yet faced the situation where businesses might start to return to normal, and so the government may at some point in time change that position. But currently, once we're eligible, we're eligible.
Okay, I just got confirmation SMS. It didn't have a copy of my declaration, but said it was receiving and processing. Should I still contact HR?
if you're worried about it, then yes, send us through. We can look it up for you. But, you know, if you've received an SMS to say we've got it, I think you're pretty much okay.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, still a lot of annual leave ones, which we're just going to, okay, here's one. Pauline, I've just emailed payroll to cancel my annual leave and they have responded. Will my annual leave still be cancelled?
Annual leave can be cancelled for the current fortnight, but it cannot be cancelled for the previous fortnight. So if you booked annual leave for fortnight ending the 12th of April, we cannot reverse it. But going forward, we are able to cancel annual leave upon request. However, I would ask everyone that we're going to update you all next week on the annual leave rules and processes, because it is really important that we do what the government wants in relation to preserving leave and allowing people to take leave, and ensuring we understand how it works with JobKeeper. So at the moment, we're processing, but and we will update you in more detail next week.
Look, it's our absolute preference that we have as minimal amount of emails going to our payroll department as possible. They have a phenomenal job that needs to happen. As you can imagine, there is so many, how many? 12,000 pay runs, pays that they need to do. This is double their normal volume. So if people, if you do put an application in, it may or may not happen this. And it's just simply physically what we can and what we cannot do in this period. And I understand that that's frustrating, but we are trying our absolute level best to get through every single piece of this legislation. And as you can imagine, payroll are going to be inundated and working all weekend. So please do not call payroll. Please be patient with this. The rules are going to come out with regard to annual leave. And as you're stood down, you are accumulating annual leave as well. So it's not like you're sitting and not accumulating annual leave. The rules are that we need to preserve 2 weeks of annual leave, and we will be working through that and being very compliant to the government around that. So if I can just ask for your patience around that, that would be fantastic. Look, we have time for one more question, and it is a job seeker question. So we'll just answer that again. So after being stood down, I applied for job seeker and have been receiving payments. I will withdraw from that, and I will not, well, if I withdraw from that, will that not affect my JobKeeper, Martina?
No, you are either eligible for job seeker or JobKeeper. So once you have been nominated as eligible for JobKeeper, then that's what you move on to, and you stop getting the job seeker. So it literally is, you're entitled to one or the other. And once you've got that confirmation, that's the one you'll be entitled to. And it won't make any impact on that you've received job seeker in the past.
Okay. All right. Look, I just want to thank you very, very much for your patience whilst we work through all of this. We thank you for all your questions. We are trying to be as honest as possible and work through this as quickly as possible. We will send out an email with this webinar recording so that all the information discussed you can read over and you can listen to this again if you need to. I know there was a lot of information. We will also, as Pauline said, we will provide the PowerPoint presentation for you so that you can look at this in your own time and you can reconcile it against the payroll slips you do indeed get. As Pauline said, you will get 2 payroll slips, so please don't be alarmed when you see the first one. There will be a second one. We don't want to get inundated with questions. Please expect that there will be 2. And our priority at the moment is absolutely to get through this next week with payroll. We will be focusing on annual leave and providing you with more answers this time next week or maybe earlier. And the government, again, I'm going to reiterate, is drip feeding a lot of this information to us. And so we are learning sometimes as you learn. We have to get through 12,000 pays to process, and we have to do this before the end of April. We're working around the clock. We're working as hard as possible for you. So please bear with us. Please don't ring up the payroll department with your questions. You have human resource email address that you can ask some questions, but please bear with us while we work through all of this. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate your patience with us. And you, we had over 500 people in this webinar. This has been fantastic. Thanks so much.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.